Alright, fuck this shit. Twitch, you're dumb. OBS, you're dumb. Everything is dumb and stupid. Alright, now that we're starting off on the good notes, that means it's time to begin Fanfiction Contempt Theater 9001. And we have the full cast today. Now that they're, done doing life things.
Fuck you. I'm only here because I'm sick.
Uh-huh. You're sick in the head.
I mean, that's possible, but this is a physical sickness, so...
Anyway, so I'm SneakyDevil and Max and Atin are here today. So let's get this party started. So as always, the links to the fanfictions we cover are in the Discord. But as per Twitch and YouTube guidelines, we do need to remind everyone to not contact any of the people here that we feature in this podcast, as that would be considered harassment, which is in fact against the rules. And of course, do not take any of the comments we do here seriously as personal attacks. This is an entertainment and educational podcast, as little as we seem to be of that.
We make an effort sometimes.
Yeah. Isley made it. Apparently, she's foregoing sleep.
That is always a good choice, Isley.
Always, you know what? Honestly,
sleep to read shit.
Well, to be fair though, Sneaky, like between you and me, if we could find a good story, she could just fall asleep to the sounds of voices. You have a decent narrating voice.
My dulcet tones will put anyone to sleep.
We could go find a textbook.
You say?
We could go find a textbook on quantum mechanics to have you read.
No,
dude, that would put me to sleep.
No. Listen, I got the most boring textbook in the world. It's about management labor relations. There's an entire 5 chapters on the history of unions.
Why? There doesn't need to be more than a paragraph.
What the? Yeah, I'm with Sneaky.
No, look, I come from New Jersey. We have a long, storied history with unions.
You mean breaking their knees?
I mean, everything. Like, we got unions that act as miniature mob families. We got unions that attacked other unions. We got unions that blew shit up.
Oh!
New Jersey has a long, storied history of literally every profession at some point in time bombing someone. It's a thing that happens. Just roll with it.
I'm sure it is the thing that happens.
Anyway, I reveal to you, world, what we will be covering today. This is a StarCraft Ruby crossover.
Man.
Hello, Birdie. Hello,
I'm like
Lassie.
halfway through the Dark Templar book. This is the worst timing.
This is the best timing. Prelate Zeratul searches for the source of a powerful psionic presence, only to find a self-insert OC. He takes him to Shakuras and teaches him how to be a Dark Templar.
That's dumb.
That's incredibly dumb. Aussie isn't new. Zeratul later decides the boy needs to reclaim his species' habits, thus sending him to a world with a shattered moon. Meanwhile, Artanis prepares to reclaim Ire. I have several problems right off the bat with this. So, the author is implying that the world of StarCraft knows about Remnant. And it's just
no, not only knows about it, but that means it has to be in the Kaprulu sector.
Yes. Not only knows about it, it's in the Kaprulu sector. Also, they've somehow had several thousand years of history. Even though, like, the entire StarCraft timeline is less than 100 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like 100 years from the day they got basically Space Australia.
Well, no, it was
Karen,
it was like several hundred years of deep freeze space travel. That's why.
Okay, yes, I'm sorry, but what I mean is events
happening
in that sector.
Exactly. But yeah, no, it's just like, so that would imply that they would be a colony created by the UED that the UED somehow completely forgot about?
The only reason StarCraft works is because, hey, Space Australia. Like, the only reason the UED ignoring them for so long works is because, hey, Space Australia.
Well, no, the only reason why the what's it, the Dominion? No, the Confederacy. The only reason why the Confederacy was even able to form was because the UED was like, lol, they're not actually gonna make a civilization. They're just gonna fucking die when they crash on a planet. That's
Yeah.
legitimately what the UED's thought process was like. And so they came out, they're like, all right, let's go claim those planets in the name of the UED. And they're like, holy shit. They didn't kill each other. Fuck!
Not only did they not kill each other.
Yeah. But yeah, my other problem here is beyond the complete impossibility of Remnant even fitting into the StarCraft lore, is that humans becoming Dark Templar. That's not a thing that can happen. Like, period. The specifics of being a Dark Templar is specific to people who have rejected the Kala?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just.
Although we later found out that if they were given a drug that cuts them off from the Kala, the same thing can happen. So it's not even specifically rejecting the Kala, it's just being outside of it for extended periods of time.
And then on top of
well,
that.
actually, I mean, not even necessarily. I mean, I guess. I mean, does like 4 years count as an extended period of time for a Protoss? Like lifespan wise?
Well, I have no idea.
Because they live super long. That's my point. Anyway.
Yeah, and point being is that it doesn't make sense at all. On top of that, Zeratul would not train a Terran. He is cool with Raynor because he's like, yo, hey Raynor, you were actually not a completely bag of shit, and I appreciate you helping me.
Zeratul has had interactions, like deep, close interactions with like 4 humans. Mengsk, not good. Kerrigan, not good.
Extremely
Raynor,
not good.
Good. Matt Horner, eh. And I think those are the only ones.
I'm pretty sure at some point in time during the loring that StarCraft 2 did, they straight up just said the only reason why Zeratul's even helping them is because of his debt to Raynor.
I'm sorry, where did they say that?
I believe that was Heart of the Swarm when Zeratul showed up. With that whole Kerrigan, you must unite the swarm under you and fight the immunes.
No. That's because he found out the only person who could stop Amon was Kerrigan. He's like, I don't like this, and I still fucking hate your guts.
Anyway, my point being, it's been a while since I played the StarCraft campaign. But anyway, yep. So, now that we've completely blown the fuck out of the entire premise of this fic, let's actually read the fic and see how poorly the author handles it.
Oh, and don't forget, Zeratul has a deeply personal reason to hate Kerrigan, which is Razakal.
Yes. Who is the better waifu? Clearly, it's Kerrigan.
I mean, anyone who says Kerrigan is wrong.
Applauds the avoidance of second person through the use of one. Oh god. Years before the events of Wings of Liberty. You really can't even look up the fucking date for that, because there's actually dates for all of this. Space was an unforgiving void of cold and death. Actually, it's just the absence of... Step into it.
Also, if this is from a Dark Templar perspective, I'm going to be real mad.
Yes, it is. Step into it
Dark
without...
Templar are not afraid of space. Like, the void is sacred to them.
I know. Step
I
into
know
it without
you know,
any
I'm pointing it out to the
protection.
audience.
One is bound to freeze and die a painful death. Actually, you don't die by the freezing. You actually die from the pressure differentiation.
Turning your head into paste.
Yeah, it's turns out you don't have to worry about freezing death. You have to worry about your eyes exploding out of your skull. Yeah.
That's a lovely thought.
There's a reason why in Hollywood movies they went with the freeze to death one instead of the turns into an overfilled water balloon one.
Except for Total Recall, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Total
That
Recall
one.
gave no fucks.
Yeah.
No, it's like, nah, mate, this is what happens. You go bug-eyed and they pop. Oh, God.
Yep.
That was a weird movie.
Yep. Anyway.
Yes.
Despite all this, space is the frontier all sentient beings yearn for. What is this, a fucking Star Trek?
Yeah, apparently.
As the infinite possibilities await those who encountered. What? Is the author trying to purple prose Zeratul with space?
They better fucking not be.
My mama told me not to eat paste, but I can't help it. I think that's what the author said. You see, Birdie, he is half demigod, of course.
Who is?
Star-Lord, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes and no. It's very complicated.
I know. The
Ego is not technically a god, and Ego isn't actually his father.
The opening paragraph makes me not want to read the rest of this fic. Well, I mean, you really don't even need to read anything beyond the freaking summary to not want to read this fic. The summary literally states it's a self-insert OC. Well, I mean, not literally, but basically literally. It's like... It's a StarCraft Ruby crossover. You have a plethora of interesting characters to work with, both characters that have been defined and characters that haven't been defined. So it's not like you're short on people you want to write about or can write about, except you go with the self-insert OC. Because of course you do! And of course, it's a Times Ruby self-insert OC.
Gotta get on that team.
Gotta get on Team Rose, yeah.
I'm not even all that bothered by self-inserts because the few I've read were actually decently written.
Well, no,
Holy
see,
shit, I'm glad I don't stick around for the Ruby ones.
See, no, my main problem with self-inserts, I realize that we have one under our name. My problem with self-inserts is that they're usually uninspired. Like, it's usually self-insert, either they remember being the author, or they isekai'd into it, or, you know, insert reason why they're here now. But half the time, the self-inserts remember the meta-knowledge, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna save everything. And then they do that. And there's no butterflies at all. And everyone thinks they're amazing with all of their meta-knowledge that allows them to say all of the things that fixes everything. And that's how they get the girl. By basically being a creepy stalker that knows more about them than they do. Yeah, no, I just... There's a couple I've seen done really well, and those are usually the ones that are like masked up and Trebors, where it's like, oh yeah, there's gonna be butterfly effects, and it's gonna be basically massively derailed because of it.
Yeah.
And not all the butterfly effects are good.
Many of them are bad.
I've seen only 2 stories with self-inserts that work: Catching Your Breath, a Naruto fanfic, and Security, a Worm fanfic. Security, I am on the fence about. Ack has a habit of writing everything very optimistically when he isn't writing fetish porn.
Wow, that's quite a difference.
Well, I mean, he has an AO3 account where he posts a lot of Taylor times Danny and Taylor times Danny times Sophia fics.
Man.
Yeah, I don't. Ack writes a lot of fetish porn. But no, he keeps his fanfiction.net account and his Space Battle / Sufficient Velocity account clean. And those fics tend to be very happy-go-lucky-esque.
So either he's writing demented incest, or...
I mean, I'm not saying everything goes right in his fics, but one of his fics is literally everything goes right. That's literally the premise of the fic. So yeah, like I'm 50-50 when it comes to security. It was kind of interesting in that the main character didn't have superpowers, but he still kind of meta-knowledged everything works out just fine. So, yeah. Anyway, so back on track. Blah 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 blah. Impending doom. The Void Seeker, the Dark Prelate's personal ship, bolted past groups of asteroids and ice particles. The ships can't technically bolt. Just throwing that out there.
Ships can't do anything.
Just, I
It's
mean,
the pilot doing it.
well, I mean, yes, but if you're trying to describe the ship going fast, bolting really isn't the correct terminology. So if you're ever gonna, this is where we get educational, ladies and kids. If you want to make your story more varied in the word usage of descriptors, don't just crack open a thesaurus and pick the one that looks the best. Like, actually, like, research the word you're using to make sure that it's appropriate, even if it is a synonym that can mean generally the same thing. It doesn't always work as a replacement. Not every word is interchangeable. I appreciate your mega donation of 10 bits. One at a time.
That was nice of him.
I feel like a hobo now, who someone just like threw a bunch of pennies they found in their pocket into the hat.
That's basically what just happened. So
I mean, that's all you've ever been.
I used to be living at large. People used to drop $5 into my cup.
to be fair, and at one point he was a hobo with a job
I was?
for a very short time in your life.
Indeed. Comparatively speaking. Anyway, so, blah blah. Psychic power in the middle of nowhere. The scanners inside the ship gave him bigger ticks.
But
What? Is this a fucking,
What?
like, radioactive device? Like, tick, 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 tick.
Apparently.
If that's a Geiger Counter, you might want to start running the other way, mate.
It's a Geiger counter ad hoc into a psionic scanner, apparently.
Oh boy.
Telling Zeratul he was nearing what he was here for. The only obstacle was in between him and his destination was a large asteroid which the Void Seeker flew below, revealing a Terran ship. This is most unusual, Zeratul said to himself as he maneuvered his ship closer. The Terran ship looked battered, as if something had attacked it. Frozen bodies floated around the wreckage. How can there be psionic energy in a derelict vessel? The prelate thought. Well, you can always apologize. Just as he was about to leave, he noticed something. So you're not even fucking investigate it? You're like, I have traveled far off the beaten path to discover this psionic presence. Oh, it's in a derelict ship. Fuck this. Am I the only one that thinks it's dumb?
You aren't.
I mean, now, to be fair, derelict ships entering alone, that does usually end up with the beginning of a horror story in which you find out that the derelict ship had mined up some sort of ancient alien device that turned everyone into
hold on,
flesh-eating
we don't have to
monsters.
say ancient alien device. We can say Zelnaga device.
That is true. PTD, STP, psychically transmitted parasite. That's why you should always use protection when you're mind scanning. Morning, Galvin.
Tell that to a ghost.
A psionic parasite. Now that's something.
Honestly, I'm surprised it wasn't one of the bonus missions.
Yeah, no, I there is a couple people that talk out loud when they're alone. I am not one of them, so I can't really understand people that do it. If anyone's ever
remember,
seen...
technically this could just all be Zeratul's thoughts.
Yeah, except he is said to himself out loud.
Yeah, and then
that's
and
literally impossible. He has no mouth.
In the same paragraph, by the way, the prelate thought with a sentence. So,
but yeah, no, it's like there are, I do know, a small minority of people I know speak out loud when they think no one is like near them. They're the type that mutter to themselves and shit. But it's a very small minority, and if you're gonna rely on that to get the person's thoughts out, just have them think it. Just reword the sentence, reword the paragraph, turn it into a thought, introspection.
Sneaky, I hope you've got some anger in you for when we find out this kid's name.
Oh, is it D-Train?
No.
Is it D-Train Dark?
No.
I feel like there's a story behind that reaction.
Yeah, it was a story we covered while you were gone.
Oh no.
It was a Ruby story with a self-insert OC, who went by his author name of D-Train and made his last name Dark, and his uncle was Eagle, who was a teacher at the Hunter Academies.
Of course.
And he even was a meta for a second, where he had one of the sorry, hold on, what was this complicated relationship? D-Train Dark's sister was previously dating the honest older brother of Ruby and Gang, and that's why D-Train hangs out with them.
I believe that was it, yes.
So yes, the author made up another OC specifically so he could have his OC hang out with the main cast.
That's
completely nonsensical.
Weird.
Anyway, so let's get back to the burning trash fire this story is about to become in a second. Blah blah. There was a single orange rectangle. Zeratul knew there was somebody alive. He immediately piloted his ship into a large hole and landed the Seeker. He activated his personal shield before disembarking, preventing the unforgiving space from killing him. He made a quick surveillance.
That is not how that works.
No, it's not. He made a quick surveillance.
Listen here, author. The Protoss have environment suits just like us. Fancier and more gold, but otherwise just like ours.
Around the surroundings before he started to walk. The interior of the ship was littered with debris of all sorts. The illumination of the stars dimmed as Zeratul walked further in, making him ignite his warp black on his gauntlet. It straight up says warp black.
I know. That's why I'm not saying anything.
Green light brightened the corridors, which housed multiple metal doors, most of which were broken open. Zeratul couldn't help but wonder what had happened here. As he continued inside, he saw corpses of Terran Marines sprawled on the ground, with their armor either white or red. The Dark Prelate nodded. He finally knew what happened. He remembered hearing stories from his fellow Dark Templar about a civil war between the Terrans. It's not a civil war. They straight up just said, hey, we're gonna go fucking make our own place with Blackjack and Hooker. It's not a civil war. It is separate factions.
I mean, from the Dominion's point of view, it's civil war.
I mean, yeah, but this isn't Dominion, this is the Confederacy.
I mean, again, they still consider... I mean, I guess Raynor's troops would be... It's a civil war. Raynor's just a traitor.
But yeah, but this is white. This is the Umajomans versus Confederacy. That's not a civil war. They're separate.
True, that is just war.
Yeah. He snapped back to reality. Also, why would Zeratul not... implying that Zeratul doesn't keep tabs on the Terran factions. He was apparently able to find Raynor quick enough.
Well, to be fair, Raynor is a pretty findable guy.
That's fair enough. Zeratul decided to enter the building.
James Raynor and the Hyperion are not what I think anyone would describe as subtle.
Upon going inside, he found pieces of armor that seemed different from what he had seen in the corridors. Unlike bulky power armor he saw, this armor seemed to fit on a human body, unlike the...
You okay?
So I'm just trying to work my mind around the fact that the author is saying that the power armor isn't on the human body, but this slimmer power armor is on the human body. I just... Okay. It seemed polished and was made to let the user be nimble. Okay, except for the part where they didn't have miniaturized power armor. They had...
The closest you get to that is ghost armor. And that's not power armor.
Well, yeah, ghost armor is straight up just psychically enhanced armor.
Hey kid, you want your mind blast to be stronger? Then get yourself some ghost armor.
Basically, for whatever reason. Continued his inspection to find sniper rifles, goggles, and experimental... Jesus fucking Christ. He straight up says... He's saying the ghost armor is power armor.
Good. Then he's dumber than...
Ah!
Ghost armor is
Zeratul.
like the squishiest armor there is.
It's basically a freaking skin suit with metal boots and gloves and a metal chest piece.
And some psychic nonsense thrown in.
Stopped the sealed door. He sensed a massive, psionic presence behind it, and he approached the door. He was tempted to break through, but the thought of a possibility that the source could be a living thing stopped him. Instead, he... Of course it's a living thing! Okay. Instead, he concentrated his psionic energy to the green crystal in his right shoulder pad. Black mist surrounded him and he disappeared. He reappeared inside the room. He heard noises of panic. He turned to find a human child. Blah 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 blah, shit dialogue, blah blah.
Ready!
My name is John Raynor. Some baddies took me from my daddy. I wanna go home. Okay, so, what you're saying here is, I'm assuming from the implication that he's extremely psionically powerful, that he's supposed to be Sarah Kerrigan's kid, who fucked James Raynor, except for
But never had a kid?
the small problem of that the kid is 6 years old, which would imply Raynor knew Kerrigan for 4 years before he met her.
Which he didn't. My name is John Cena, yeah, basically. Hey, Sneaky, started drinking yet? I can neither confirm nor deny the presence of alcohol on this stream.
Can you confirm or deny the presence of potato juice?
I can, in fact, confirm there is no potato juice. There is only fermented corn here.
Oh, good. That's alright.
It's harder than potato juice. Anyway, Taryn, come with me. We want to live. I will take you to my world. I will teach you my ways. We will protect you.
Okay, hold on a minute. This is Zeratul. Okay, even ignoring the stupidity of this child, Zeratul's first response would be, "Oh shit, you're James's kid? Let me get you home."
Yeah. Also, let me not tell James about this.
Probably not said like that, but that would be the basic idea.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Actually,
I mean, no, straight up. The author is saying Zeratul was like...
What the fuck?
Zeratul straight up just doesn't tell James about it.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm getting from all of this is that Zeratul is on speaking terms with James and doesn't make the connection that this might be James's kid.
Oh no,
Well,
no,
no,
not just
it's
speaking
even
terms.
worse than that, Max. James Raynor is one of the 6 humans that Zeratul even deigns to know.
Oh.
And
Okay.
not just that, he is one that pretty much every Protoss alive feels a personal debt to because of what Raynor did.
I see.
He Indiana Jones the shit out of the Protoss.
And in addition to that, it would be super, super, super easy for even like a Protoss child to read this human child's psionically active mind and just ask him, "Who's your father?" And then
Who's your
just
daddy?
get that image from the surface thoughts that bubble up.
Or even be like right here, the kid goes, "Dad told me to not go with strangers." Huh, okay. He leaves and comes back with armor. And then gives the armor to the kid, and then says, "Come on, kid, let's go." And the kid goes. Like, he doesn't say, "Oh, who's your father?" It's James, or Raynor. "Oh, I know James, we go way back." Calls up James. "Yo, James, I found your fucking kid."
Or even just shooting him like a text message. "Yo, I found this kid. His name is Jim.
John.
His name was John. His last name's Raynor. Any chance you spawned him while you were out sad fucking your way through a bottle of alcohol because your girlfriend's a gizzard now?"
Is your girlfriend's queen bitch of the universe? Oh. And then, yeah, so straight up just, for 10 years, Zeratul and John dwelled in Shakural.
Hold up a minute. Artanis says nothing about this?
Also, he misspelled Shakuras.
Yes.
To train the human in the ways of the Dark Templar. During the first years, John received hostility. Thus, Zeratul decided to train him personally. During this time, John learned how to control his psionic powers, learned how to utilize it into abilities, learned how to wield warp blades.
Full stop. Another problem. Yes, another one. Don't care how psionically strong this kid is. Even if he's the offspring of Sarah Kerrigan, he's not strong enough to be a Templar.
Well, it's not even that. No, like, Kerrigan was admittedly magnitude psionically stronger than pretty much all Protoss. Like, but that's not the thing, though.
No. That's not until she's a Zerg.
Okay, well, yes, but still. She can't even use warp blades then, because fundamentally, psionic powers work differently for all three races.
Well, most of them. Mind reading is still mind reading.
Well, yeah, but that's basic bitch shit.
I know, I did need to caveat it.
That's like how every magic system has some form of magic missile. Dear Jimmy, I have come across your spawn. Apparently, you're a bad father for putting him in danger. I shall steal him and raise him like my own, since you are not a capable parent. Peace out, Cub Scout. Your friend, Zeratul. P.S. Go Zerg yourself.
I mean, even that would be more... obviously adjusting the language of it a bit, even that would be more in keeping with what his response would be.
Or even like, your son seems to be in danger. I shall sequester him to safety on the planet of the Dark Templar, so you can focus on your whatevers or something. Fear not, friend Raynor, for I shall train his psionic abilities so he may defend himself in the future.
And once again, at no point does Artanis say anything. Fuck, man, even Selendis would say something.
Yeah, except for the part where get fucked. This is the self-insert main character. The self-insert main character is the son of James Raynor, who was found on a derelict ship after being stolen by the Umajoans, and found by Zeratul, who then took him back to his home
based
planet.
on what's going on, it's more likely he was taken by the Dominion, and the Umajoans tried to save his ass.
I don't know. I feel like
remember, before Wings of Liberty, they were briefly on the same side as the Umajoans.
That is true.
Briefly.
I still feel like the Umajoans would be like, as far as Raynor knows, the Confederacy stole him.
Oh, they would, but they would still try to rescue him. I'm just saying it's more likely the Dominion tried to steal him, and the Umajoans rescued him.
Confederacy, but yeah.
Confederacy, yeah.
So the Umajoans are basically like, what if a bunch of scientists became mercenaries?
That sounds horrifying, actually.
And what if they had, like, several planets of people?
Oh, and they threw ethics out the fucking window.
And that was implied when they became mercenaries, but yeah. Yeah, so. He learned the Terran and Kalani language. As he was Terran, however, the prelate permitted his apprentice to hunt wild beasts for sustenance.
Hold on a minute. Learned the Kalani language. You mean the language they don't have because they speak directly into your noggin.
Yeah, the language they don't have because they talk by brain. Yeah, it's...
Talking by brain is a very effective translation method.
It's almost like talking directly into the language cortex of the brain kind of bypasses the need for language.
Suck my dick is a pretty universal concept.
Zeratul took John around Kuplulu sector and met Tassadar in planet Char. The Templar found John's immense psionic potential so impressive, he taught John to use psionic storms.
Oh, okay. So Tassadar's just like, oh, hey. Never asks him, hey, what's this kid's name and why do you have him?
John eventually found his father James Raynor, commander of the Raynor Raiders. He, the Dark Templar, the Raiders, and the Cacus Protoss. Cacus? Really? Author? Fought together against the Overmind in Ior, where he witnessed the sacrifice of Tastar to save his people. Wasn't that Brood War?
I was just say, that's Brood War. Which, I mean, technically is before Wings of Liberty, I guess.
Yeah! Like... Brood War, StarCraft 1. Zeratul took John around the Kaplulu sector, blah blah blah. John participated in the evacuation of Ire to the Nerazim homeworld of Shikuras. He aided in fighting off the United Earth Directorate.
Wait a minute.
United
There's
Earth...
a problem.
How many years is this before Wings of Liberty? Jesus Christ!
No, there's an even bigger problem here, Sneaky. This is implying, because what's-his-face isn't even involved in anything until Wings of Liberty, until after, fuck, I can't think. Until after the events of, Brood War. The Dark Templar aren't a thing in base StarCraft. Not until the very end, anyway. Not until the very end.
Yeah, at the very end in Brood War, the Dark Templar come out, and we get the whole, Razagol.
But my point there being, so there is absolutely no way that Zeratul would take on a human child. He would probably save its life because of whatever their mandate was. That was basically the prime directive. Like, he might save that kid and send it to a Terran world, but that's it.
Yeah, like, this isn't pre freaking Wings of Liberty. This is pre-Brood War. This is pre the ending events of StarCraft 1, let alone the DLC, which takes place months to years after.
all of this is suffice it to say, the author's fucking stupid.
Like, we were complaining about this story on the basis of it being just like right before Wings of Liberty happened. It's not even right before Wings of Liberty happened.
Like before Wings of Liberty, it's like, all right, maybe if you twist the time.
So, Max, our basic complaint here is, to better put it into words you would understand, it's like if someone decided to use Season 5 as their basis of RWBY, as their basis of a time frame, and it was like, some time before Season 5, and then was talking about shit that happened when RWBY was like 3.
No, I understand exactly what you guys are saying, but I just want to point out, Isley, this is the first time I've spoken in the last 6 to 8 minutes. Ad's been the one ranting this entire time.
God damn it, Isley.
Our voices even aren't that similar on
I'm
the
even
microphone.
sick right now.
He is way more high-pitched and whiny.
Fuck you.
But no, I actually get that. But part of the reason I get that is because you guys know I'm a BlazBlue fan,
Yeah.
which means it's totally possible for you to twist the timeline in such a way that older Ragna is the one teaching younger Ragna in the middle of the 100-Year War because fuck you. That's how time travel works in this universe.
I know, but there's no time travel here. This is just the author.
I mean,
Yeah.
sure, but here's the problem with
There
that. There's
should
no
be,
time
though.
travel in StarCraft.
You know what? I'm gonna go check that now.
No, there's straight up no time travel in StarCraft.
Yeah.
But like,
Well, okay, no, wait. There might be time travel at the very end of it based on the bullshit with Kerrigan.
Okay, that's fair enough. But still, the point stands, is that the author comes up to you and he's like, look, so this story takes place a little bit before the beginning of StarCraft 2. Oh, okay. So basically all the events of StarCraft 1 have happened, right? No, none of the events of StarCraft 1 have happened yet. Then why the fuck did you tell me this takes place before StarCraft 2? It's like, this takes place before StarCraft 1. That's an important delineation of information. Okay. Blah blah blah. He was shocked to find his master kill Matriarch Razgal. Blah blah blah. Nomadic life. Hybrids. John's loyalty did
Okay,
not
look, I want to
sway.
point out, the only person who got upset over Zeratul killing Matriarch Razgal was Zeratul.
Okay.
Everyone else understood.
There's no confirmed time travel. You could maybe fuck with the warp space, but that seems pretty clear cut. The wiki seems to make a pretty clear cut. No, it's just another dimension that I guess it's like the Nether in Minecraft. Every one step in the Nether, 7 steps in the overworld or some shit.
Yeah, but
That seems pretty clear
like
cut.
I said, no time travel.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I love it. It's like one of the only science fiction universes that is like, no, time travel is stupid and we're not doing that.
Anyway, so blah 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 blah. He was loyal to Zeratul and traveled across the Kuplulu sector with Zeratul. Blah blah blah. Honed skills. Met Kerrigan, rebuilt the swarm. With permission from Zeratul, he accompanied the Queen of Blades through her campaign. So we're just completely skipping over arguably the best section of StarCraft 2 lore. Okay. Blah blah blah, Queen of Blades, blah blah blah, Nerud, blah blah blah. John returned to Zeratul after Manx was brought to justice, and he continued to search for answers.
What? Okay, so they did just skip straight up the single best story expansion that ever happened to StarCraft.
Yep.
Like, Wings of Liberty was okay, but Wings of Liberty existed for the sole purpose of making Heart of the Swarm kick ass.
Yeah, pretty much. Or this one was pretty fucking lit.
Like, the campaign mission was fun, but more importantly, it was like, hey, you know that story arc we've been teasing you with for 7 years? Here it is.
Anyway, so blah blah blah. He's fighting Zerg. Blah blah blah. His orders were to kill them all. He wore outdated ghost armor that his master found 10 years ago. So yeah, straight up fucking claiming that ghost armor is A, power armor, and B, that he never found any replacement ghost armor ever in his entire campaign against Manx. Uh-huh. Sure. He
Or
was
when they were,
wielding a dual-bladed warp scythe.
Oh, you mean something a Terran couldn't?
Yes. Ornamented with the skulls of all the Zerg he killed.
Oh, you mean something the Protoss would look deeply upon as a shameful barbaric habit?
Guessing we didn't care for Legacy of the Void? Legacy of what now? Legacy of how badly
Legacy
Blizzard
of the Void
failed?
was okay, but the story is just better in Heart of the Swarm.
Legacy of how not to end your legacy?
Yeah, that too.
Hey guys, this is the ultimate finisher to the largest series we have ever made. Complete flop. Yeah. I mean, it should say something that I have 98% of the achievements for Heart of the Swarm. I have 75% of the achievements for Wings of Liberty. I have 32% of the achievements for Legacy of the Void. That should give you my opinion on the various expansion packs of StarCraft 2.
Indeed, it does.
Anyway, so this was common to the Zeratai tribe, despite his master being one of the Lanessa tribe. His human armor was accompanied by a single shoulder pad ornamented with a being one of the Lanessa tribe, because, oh yeah, they just human, we shall just adopt you, because we don't know how to write Protoss. His human armor was accompanied by blah blah blah. On his back was a canister, blah blah blah. He had recovered from Ostagrad. So he had recovered a C-20 rifle, but he couldn't find out any better ghost armor at all? Really? Okay. His left arm was fitted with a warp blade gauntlet.
Again, something he couldn't operate.
And he wore specially designed boots that he personally had built. Really? So he learned advanced Terran physics and biochemistry and mechanical engineering and like all of these very specific deep branches of research and technology, and then built his own boots. Yeah? Really, author? Okay. Legacy of the Void left a void of legacy. Yeah, basically. Yeah, StarCraft is done with Legacy of the Void. That was their final entry into the StarCraft series, at least for now. If they will, they said that if they would ever pick up StarCraft again in terms of making another game for it, it would likely be hundreds of years down the line, because the quote story of StarCraft 1 and 2 has been brought to a close. So, blah blah blah, the author doesn't know StarCraft, blah blah blah, power fantasy, blah blah blah, he's using Dark Templar abilities, blah blah blah, he doesn't know how to write fight scenes. Your fast adaptability to the alien society you are in has impressed the High Templar. I'm sure the matriarch will think so as well.
Wait a minute. Rosdagal's dead.
Yes. Blah blah blah. Master, is there anything I lack? I've been training for a decade to walk the shadow path. Raynor, unlike other younglings, you have been training for only a decade. Others have been doing for over a century, some even longer. Your immense power makes you equal to your fellow younglings, disciples. But remember, they have more experience. I shall aid you in overcoming inexperience. However, there is one thing I cannot help you. What is it, Master? Ever since you've last seen your father 4 years ago, you have been kept from Terran society. I wonder whose fault that might be. I believe...
It's not like you have time and space bending technology. Or it's not like this kid is a ghost, or at least has ghost abilities, and has been trained by Dark Templar. You don't think he ever tried sneaking off Shakuris?
You don't think he ever decided, hey, maybe I should go see my dad?
Like, shit, at no point was he like, I'm gonna swing by Marsara
Like,
and get a...
Not even that, like, straight up. The author is just like, yeah, so, the 6-year-old just kind of went with Zeratul after Zeratul gave him no reason to come with him. And Zeratul then proceeded to make no attempts to contact James Raynor. Oh, wait, that's right. Because this happened 6 years before the events of StarCraft 1. Oh, okay, sure. So even though Zeratul wouldn't have done any of the things he would have done then, he still did all of them, like, as if he had known James Raynor. Okay, yeah, sure, author. So, we're just gonna take 2 steps beyond unbelievability and go straight into you're trying to be Gurren Lagann levels of believable without being Gurren Lagann. Anyway. So, blah 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 blah, you must go back to the Terrans. Blah 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 blah.
Wait, he's going to the Turians? When did this get into Mass Effect?
Over the past decade, he had forged a bond with Zeratul so strong, he didn't want to leave Zeratul.
So we couldn't just say Zeratul to be his dad?
Is there any Gurren Lagann StarCraft crossovers? I wouldn't be surprised. Like, right here, it is the height of unbelievability that a 6-year-old who knows his father for 6 years would just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna go with this stranger and then completely forget about my dad. Because I'm not saying Jim is the best of parents, but he would certainly be a fucking rememberable parent. He tries. Doesn't mean he's good at what he's trying. Doesn't mean he's successful at what he's trying.
But by God,
he tries.
Did he try?
He fucking lit the entire sector on fire trying to find a cure for Kerrigan. I'm pretty sure.
Fair, no, Sneaky, not trying to find a cure.
He did.
Curing. Let's be clear.
To do both, really. He set it on fire trying to find a cure. Then he finds out there is a cure, acquires the cure, burning down more things, and then, in the process of curing Kerrigan, burns down more things that he should have no reason to succeed against. I'm pretty sure if he tried parenting, it would at least be memorable for everyone.
I'm sorry, all I can think of now is Matt Horder walking in and saying, Jim? Yeah, what is it, Matt? Why is your kid in the gunnery station?
Parent bonding. It's just... This is not how familial...
Both sound like you're in pain.
Look, I am not one to talk about how familial relations operate. But even I know this is dumb. Blah, 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 you must go alone. Blah, 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 blah. I will leave you alone for a whole year. You must integrate yourself into the society. Blah, 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 blah. They're flying through space. It was a Terran world in the edge of the Kerplulu system. The satellite of the planet was shattered as if something had impacted its surface. Master, I don't see signs of space stations or satellites. How can Terrans be in this world? Zeratul mused at his disciple's curiosity and maneuvered the ship to the dark side of the planet.
Mused? What do you mean, mused?
Instantly,
That's
John saw the numerous lights that dotted the portion of the continent. However, unlike the dazzling lights would have surrounded Korhal Shikuras, the only portions of light existed in this planet. That's odd. The Terrans would normally have city lights everywhere on the planet. What's keeping them from doing that? That I know not, because apparently I didn't investigate the planet I was going to send you to. Also,
Fuck's sake, if Zeratul was parenting, he wouldn't. He'd make sure, like, okay, look, he'd have made sure the kid had money. He'd have made sure he was going to a low planet agri-world. Like, again, as much as Zeratul screwed everything up, Zeratul was a pretty good guy.
comedy fic in which Sarah Kerrigan is a working mom, aka the Queen of Blades, who pillages worlds for her income, and Jim is a stay-at-home dad. Well, he does stay at home a lot, so yeah, it works out. Yes, things can only go well from that.
Stay-at-home dad implies he's doing any parenting. He's really just necking the ball.
I mean, you also gotta keep in mind his home is a flying spaceship with a fuck-off level of laser beams on it.
And a Yamato cannon. Don't forget the Yamato cannon.
Right, of course. I can't believe I forgot about the nuclear fission propulsion.
I'm sorry, I'm now just imagining him teaching his 3-year-old. Home is where the Yamato cannon is, son.
I mean...
Yo, that's a fantastic life motto!
Yeah, it's not exactly a bad plan to make sure every home is equipped with a Yamato cannon.
Daddy, it's a Hydralisk! Jim, don't you think that was a little overkill for a Hydralisk? Yeah, but look at how happy he is.
Oh my god. And then maybe get a call from Kerrigan the next day. Like, what would you guys name the kid?
What would James Raynor's kid be named?
What would James
He
and
shacked up with
Sarah's
Kerrigan.
kid be? Well, James is a bitch and Kerrigan's strong-willed.
No, Sneaky, he would be named Octurus.
Okay. Okay.
No, Max,
No?
that's a shitpost.
No, okay. Just anything.
You know what? Jim might go all bleeding heart and be like, "Oh, we need to name him Tassadar or some bullshit like that."
I mean, this not really depends on when it takes place, but I would say if this is like an alternate history to everything went fine, Kerrigan was kind of sort of cured, and there was no super attack on James Raynor, and she didn't think he died, and they just kind of went off and did their own homemaking thing.
Yeah.
Of the second expansion. I would say the name would probably be some sort of homage to. Oof. And
Like Zeratul or Tassadar, probably.
I
right?
know. I honestly maybe Tychus.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tychus Raynor Kerrigan.
Okay, because now I'm just
Maybe.
imagining a call from the Queen of Blades the next day. So did little Tyke get his birthday present? I sent a Hydralisk with it.
Ooh.
That explains the ribbon.
No. Here's how the call would go. So, did Tychus get his present? Because I sent a Hydralisk with it. Oh, and suddenly, I saw a big flash like a Yamato cannon from the Hydralisk, and then I couldn't sense the Hydralisk anymore, honey.
I'm not gonna lie, just like a series of one-shots as a comedy fic for this sounds great. Just like
Clearly, Matt. Sorry. What the fuck's her name? Horner's wife.
Wait, Horner was married?
Yeah.
When the fuck do we find that out?
What's that mercenary chick? Not Molly. Her name's not fucking Molly. Jesus Christ.
Wait.
Mira!
Wait.
Mira Han?
Yes.
Oh, that's
What?
right. Yes,
Oh.
he did marry Mira.
Oh, I love this. On the Wikipedia page, family and relatives, Mira Han, wife, technically.
Yeah, so basically he beat her in a poker game where she bet her life in it. And he won, and he didn't want to kill her, so she's like, well, I guess I'm your wife now.
And Matt Horner, being an eternal bachelor, and also maybe a little bit gay for James, is like, no.
And then James was like, no, Matt, accept it. We need her help. So he's like, fine, I accept. And then everything from there just kind of spiraled.
I love this quote. If I
it's-
knew what the prize was, I never would have joined that card game.
Yeah.
It doesn't come up again until Wings of Liberty, when you go to the planet that she runs. Because, by the way, she's technically a planetary governor, which is why they needed her help.
Oh, good.
She's also a mercenary.
So Saturdays with Auntie Mira must be really fun then.
She's also basically a pirate. So...
No, not basically. Is a pirate.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Oh,
Star-
and just
the,
think
the
it-
StarCraft plotline very easily lends itself to humor.
Oh, and don't forget his uncle, Chief Engineer Rory, the cantankerous engineer.
The for some reason Irish-esque, Scottish-esque. Yes. Anyway.
Really
so,
just wildly offensive.
more or less. Anyway, so yeah, so they apparently discover a Terran world with no ability of space travel, and Zeratul goes, you know what? I don't need to research this place. I'm just gonna send this kid that I picked up 6 years ago.
And that I have since come to presumably have some level of affection for.
Wait a second, I have just realized another thing. So, like, James Reynolds, in this
Hold on,
timeline-
no, Sneaky, now that you've said that, did you ever watch the Jackie Chan animated series?
Yes.
You know what you need to say. One more thing.
Okay. No.
I got a laugh from both of you.
No, you got a sigh of disappointment from me. There was no laugh on my end. That was all Sneaky.
Okay, so, yeah, okay, right. Blah, 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 blah. Is this where we part ways? Yup, I'll come back in a solar cycle of this world. We'll see what you learn. Blah, 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 blah. Civilization is there. I just have to walk to it. Star, rustle. Star, growl.
Sorry, what?
He's using an asterisk to denote sounds.
Oh, God.
I just... Oh, God. Did you see that, Professor? A middle-aged woman with blonde hair and glasses asked a man with gray hair and glasses. The man didn't
Max.
say anything as repeated
Max.
the footage of the scroll.
What
This is
now?
dumb. So I don't care about this anymore. So I've got a question. Do you think we should upload the other chapter we have done of our story?
What are we uploaded to?
I think we're at 15.
I think that's all we have.
No, don't we have 16 done? Or 16 only partially done?
We didn't even start 16.
I thought we had.
I just... What...
Meanwhile, Sneaky is having a breakdown.
What?
Maybe we did get 16. Maybe we did
Glinda,
start
blah,
16.
blah, blah, blah. Call him. We should totally call him. Call him? Call him?
Call who?
What? Oh, yeah. Let me just get my scroll out. Kid with psionic blades. Oh, hey, kid with psionic blades. Aren't you glad the scroll system is so bullshit? I don't even need to know your phone number. I could just say who I want to call. It just rings.
Call plot relevant NPC.
Basically, call plot relevant NPC. Indeed.
Max,
That's actually just what Ozpin has on speed dial.
Listen,
Relevant
that's what
NPC A, relevant NPC B. The only one on speed dial with a name is the man who provides him his coffee.
Yeah, his name is Cortez Martinez. And he talks with a French accent.
Of course. He would only tolerate artisan coffee. By the way, I'm saying tolerates on purpose. Like, if it isn't at least artisan coffee,
Isley is calling
like,
you
get it away
out.
from me.
Isley says this would probably qualify as dumb from the moment the summary was read.
I mean, yeah, but I didn't say when it was dumb. I just said it was dumb when I no longer
Okay, so this
cared.
was published in April 2017. That's pretty much everything but Season 5, right?
Pretty much.
So the author's note makes me want to punch them in the face. I have watched 2 seasons of RWBY, and it's amazing! The first 2 seasons of RWBY are a fucking train wreck. For some reason, I have fallen in love with reading crossovers about it. Oh, that explains why you're writing it. Especially Halo. I am a huge fan of StarCraft. I couldn't tell since you seem to get literally everything about it wrong. I wanted to combine the stories of RWBY and the game. Now, before I spark an outcry, yes, Jim had a son named John. He was psychically capable, thus the Confederacy stole him. However, the ship that carried John exploded, killing him.
No, it didn't.
In this AU, John survives the destruction and is rescued by Zeratul. So you're headcanoning. You're AUing a headcanon.
The author made it stupid.
Okay. The crossover will contain the events of RWBY's 1 and 2 with Legacy of the Void. I hope this will go well.
What?
John Raynor shows up on the Wikipedia. It looks like he was a novel character only, like in the books.
Really? What book?
Some of the things mentioned, StarCraft Frontline Volume 4, StarCraft Queen of Blades, Liberty Crusade, Heart of the Swarm 2. Okay, so it gives 3 books at least, and there's something, BlizzCon 2011, StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm, Campaign and Lore panel is one of the references. Huh. How much fucking wiki diving would you have to do?
So, no, this actually makes me angrier because he did enough wiki diving to find John Raynor.
Liddy Raynor.
Oh,
But he can't get some dates right.
That's why I never read that book. It's the manga series.
It's some.
It's the manga series that
Lord!
Tokyo Pop did.
Oh.
The one that's not even remotely canon, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too good. Also, and it would appear I am wrong. I think we do have chapter 16 done, so I'm gonna go.
I was like, I'm pretty sure
grabbing
we had
that real
16
quick.
done.
Also, I would like to point out that the author probably got the fucking years wrong. Yeah, Jim moves, blah blah blah, John Raynor, yeah. So, yeah, okay, okay, let's see, so 6 years, after being born,
No,
that would
we never
be,
finished the chapter. Yeah, okay.
Oh, what do you still have
2501.
left on it?
Oh, well, we just never finished it.
Well, then let's
Zerg.
finish it when we're done here.
Maybe.
What the fuck is a Xantar slug? Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, I'm not fucking crazy. Alright, so 6 years, after, John being born, Manx has already made the Dominion for an entire year. There is no Confederacy anymore. So there was no Confederacy to steal his kid. So the author wiki dived hard enough to get the kid, but then didn't wiki dive hard enough to make any of the timeline freaking match up.
Also, let's be clear, he used the author wiki dived hard enough to get a non-canon manga that most people here in the States probably knew nothing about. Actually, Steve, can you look that up real quick so the entire stream can see if we're crazy?
What?
If the manga's canon.
That's I think that's the referencing to the. Oh, here we go in the notes section. There was no plans to continue John's story. So yeah, that was what the Heart of the Swarm campaign and lore panel was. Also, Isley, it's streaming just fine on my end. I'm watching myself.
I'm not seeing any problems either.
Yeah, so it's all you, Isley. All you.
Oh yes, that chapter's the one we haven't finished.
Yeah, no, as far as I can tell, I'll search that.
Because here's the thing, even if he is canon, he's not canon enough to get a mention in any of the games. Like, shit, the events of Dark Templar got a mention at least. Let me search for Frontline. No, the Frontline series is not canon. Fucking knew it.
That's.
I'm like, there is no way Blizzard would ever trust Japan with their canon.
There's no way Blizzard will trust anyone but themselves.
No, they don't even. They actually have a public policy about just employee comments are not to be considered any form of confirmation or denial of any form of canon. In fact, Blizzard has gone out of while Blizzard has not gone out of their way to declare canonicity, but they also don't have any sort of official policy. However, they do say that off-the-cuff comments from employees will often be contradictory, as a lot of people have their own ideas about the ongoing story and lore that is StarCraft and Warcraft. So basically saying anything that isn't software in the game manuals or directly talked about on lore panels is to be considered non-canon. I don't even know if the Shadow. Yeah, the Dark Templar saga doesn't appear to be. Okay, no wait, hold on.
No, books are canon. Books are totally canon.
No, the Dark Templar saga was retconned.
Okay, no, but it was canon
Yes.
at some point.
But that was actually just minor things.
Oh, really? So the whole thing wasn't retconned?
No, the whole thing wasn't retconned. It was just minor events and like character descriptions.
That's not bad.
Timestamps from published material take precedence over timestamps from unpublished material. Blah blah blah. So yeah, some of the books were in fact considered canon. Some of the books aren't considered canon. And they do retcon some of the dates occasionally. But yeah, no. So the manga series is not canon. So the author is a multi-time failure, I guess you could say. So yeah, they wiki dived hard enough to find a non-canon character, which is actually the reason why John Raynor is listed as an original character on the fanfiction section, because he's not actually a canonical character in the StarCraft series. But yeah, so the author wiki dived hard enough to find a non-canon character to then flesh puppet as a self-insert OC to then butcher the timeline and how all of the characters are people. So, glad that we've cleared all that up.
We have spent over an hour on one story because it's that offensive to us.
Yes, we have. We spent an hour and 30 minutes on and off talking about this story. So, I mean, we can do a just dumb story now. One that isn't Ruby. Let's go with this one. This is a Bleach story.
Oh,
those
boy.
ones are always especially bad.
This is, I believe this is actually a on purpose shit post, but the world in black and white, aka why the Hollow Quincy Shinigami flat shares are a bad idea. Filler free, 100% fewer moths, better loved.
Alright, that's a shit post and a half.
Yeah. I believe the author is actually making fun of a semi-popular trope on here. As you know, everyone at the coffee shop AUs. I believe there's a roommate AU that is popular in the Bleach sections. I wish we had Zex on here because he'd be able to tell us more about Bleach in terms of the fan fiction. 6K words over every week over 3 nights of streaming. That's a lot more than I put out. Being a Quincy and flat sharing with a Vasto Lorde and a stalker Shinigami sent on a mission to purify said hollow is not good for your health. Being forced to carry out said Shinigami duties is not fun either. As a Quincy? Having said Vasto Lord attempt to use puppy dog eyes to persuade you to keep an adjudicaz in your apartment is just disturbing. Do I really want to even try to read this story?
No.
No. I actually really don't. Yeah, no, I kind of actually don't want to read this story at all. So, I'm not going to. Let's see what we got here. Culture Shock. Anime X-Overs and Worm. Origami Killer. So anyway, culture shock. This is a story of 4 unlikely dead people who woke up to Smurg scream in World of Worm in Madison, 2009, December. That is a very odd way of writing a date. Miki Sayaka, I don't know who the fuck that is. Leloich v. Britannia, I don't know who the fuck that is. Edward Elric.
Lelouch from
Yeah. Code Geass.
Ah, okay, Lelouch, okay.
They butchered it, or at least you butchered the pronunciation of it.
Edward Elric and Israel von Eisenberg.
Irisville von Einsburn from Fate Zero. Irie,
Ah, okay.
Alien's mother.
Right.
Like one of the brightest spots of Fate Zero, and also one of the saddest because of what happens.
Focuses on character development. Slow plot, short and realistic fights. Hot-blooded shonen battles do not happen here.
Why?
Then why are you writing a Bleach story?
It's a worm story.
Yeah, Sneaky
Right.
switched over to
God.
culture shock. What the fuck? Why'd you switch over to?
Because the other one was really stupid.
Because
We
I
were
said
like,
I really
no.
didn't want to read that one.
I suggest you link the new one then.
I did.
I'm looking
Oh.
at the world in black and white and nothing. Good job.
I didn't hit enter. Anyway, so, Miki Sayaka, a girl who betrayed by an innocent dream and died becoming that which she vowed to fight. Lelouch v. Britannia.
Fuck's sake, we just pronounced it for you. Lelouch.
Lelouch v. Britannia, a boy who planned and executed his own death for the sake of a lofty dream. Edward Elric.
That's why Miki's name was familiar. Yeah.
Toho?
Okay, so we've got someone from Madoka.
Ah!
Someone from Code Geass.
Oh, see, I never watched Madoka.
Yeah, we got someone from Full Metal Alchemist. We got someone from Fate. What the fuck is this story?
I don't know. Edward Elric, a man who lived a full life after having achieved his mundane dream. So this is like Old Man Elric, got it.
I
And
think what's really weird
Irascible.
here. I'm sorry, but 3 of these people have something in common, and one of them does not belong here.
Lelouch?
No, Edward is the only one to have an arguably happy ending.
No, it's not arguably. He has a happy end. He gets everything back.
To be fair, he did kill a shit ton of people for that.
Okay, but he seems pretty okay with that.
I mean, he's up there with, like, fuck-mothering alchemist levels, because he had to kill a lot of people for that title.
To be fair though, most of those people were horrible criminals.
Very powerful, horrible criminals.
Yeah, but
Only 8 reviews?
no, the argument could be made that Lelouch also had a happy ending insofar as he got his wish, so to speak, from what I understand of the events of Code Geass. So you could argue he got a happy ending as well, but it's more of a perspective of he achieved it at the cost of his own life.
Fair enough.
Meanwhile, the
only person with an objectively good ending is Edward.
Yes.
And his is not even that great.
I don't know. It's better than most. He got his brother back and he got married. So I don't know.
Had a kid.
That's a pretty good deal.
So you murdered millions of people. And then you got everything you ever wanted. Yes.
Okay, to be fair, all of his close friends all did die as well.
Not really.
Not all of them, but
Not all of them. A good majority of them.
I'd say at most 2/3. At most.
Yeah.
Wait, who all died? And which canon are you running?
Brotherhood, of course. Duh.
Brotherhood, the one where it actually like follows the
Brotherhood,
manga.
where like they had a lot of heart wrenching scenes where you're just like, oh no, no, don't do the thing I think you're about to do.
Don't do
Oh,
the thing.
you've done it.
Don't do the thing the manga. Oh, you did. Oh no.
The Colonel didn't Colonel die?
No, Mustang didn't die, did he? I'm trying to remember.
No, Mustang didn't die.
Yeah, no, Mustang. I was like, no, Mustang totally
No,
made it.
a colonel did die, but I don't think it was Mustang. Like
No, it was what's
Roy.
his face?
No, Roy Mustang. Oh, I can't remember. I really like him though. To me, he was the best character in the show from what bits I
Muscle Man?
saw. No, he was also he was
No,
like
the guy with the kid who would always take out his picture and show everyone.
Yeah, no, he wasn't a colonel, and I mean,
yeah, but like he was
wasn't
also the only
really
person
his
that Roy
friend.
actually shed tears over.
No, he didn't shed any tears. It was raining, Max.
Yes, it was raining, Max.
Yep, definitely raining. Without a cloud in the sky.
Alright, let's get the casualty list for Full Metal Brotherhood.
Okay, spoilers ahead for a 10-year-old show.
10-year-old
It
show.
looks like
20,
no one actually
15-year-old
has a
manga.
full casualty list. Okay.
Go check the Wikipedia.
Oh, no, Max, I was
might be
wrong.
crazy
It's
enough
8
to-
years, but still.
Anyway,
it might have a deceased character list on the Wikipedia.
maybe.
Uh,
Here, dreams give compromise, death is just a misstep away, and people die if they are killed. What happens when 4 immigrants make them of themselves in this merciless world? I mean, they're not really immigrants, they're more like trans migrants. Because, you know, there's a word. You all learned something today. I do not own lamb.
Here we go.
Okay, here we go. Starting
List of
from
deaths
the top.
wiki. Would you like me to link this to you,
Go
Sneaky?
for it, yeah, I'll pull it up.
Cool.
Drop
Where
it.
do you want me to dump it?
Wherever.
Okay.
That
It's
was
in
longer
private
than
messaging.
That's longer than I thought.
Yes, it is actually.
Oh, this is a decent list, actually.
Yep.
Oh, there is also a movie.
Scar's brother, Majol,
gonna have to watch that movie now.
Alexander, father, Cornelio, Mugier?
Are we sure this is brother? This just says Full Metal Alchemist.
This might only be listing like actual named characters.
Yeah.
Although I like the idea of Scar's brother literally just being named Scar's brother. But, huh. Yeah, well,
Alright.
yeah, this is technically accurate because it even lists Al being killed because he did die.
They both
He
did.
did technically die.
Scar
And then he got his body back.
Scar's brother Isley. Scar's brother. Anyway, so chapter 1. A mournful symphony surrounded what is left of a girl's wish. The symphony was bland but powerful, an empty mix of everything that music is, but nothing at the same time, repeating over and over and over and over and over.
Alright, I'm back.
The clash of weapons on wood can be heard in the background. So lonely. A soulless band continued its purpose in caring of the world. The director moved mechanically out of phase with the orchestra it's supposed to direct. Rows upon rows of empty seats bear witness to the end of a nightmare. Miki Sayaka was dreaming. In the center of the stadium, hatefully, spitefully, despairingly, Octavia von Seckendorf stared down the end of a serpentine spear buried inside its torso. Its killer, a red-headed girl, sat in unmoving prayer atop the spear. I wonder why she cared. The symphony turned into a cacophony of screams. Pieces of the stadium collapsed and fell into a bottomless void. Reality unraveled as the master of the labyrinth died. I can finally rest. Author, we can't finally rest though, because you don't know how to use italicization to denote thoughts. In the final moments of its life, Octavia von Skendorf saw its cherished orchestra, if the one possession meant to accompany it through the rest of its miserable existence, came to a final stop. So good, we're all off of the rail to tense errors. And then the world falls into an endless darkness, along with the naive girl's dreams of becoming a hero to the people she loves. Only the unending tortured scream remains. If only. Guilt, regret, despair. The tides of negativity threatens to drown Sayaka as her pitiful end played itself yet again in her mind. Vaulting upright with tears streaming down her face, she sobs quietly to herself. If only I knew what becoming a magical girl would be like. I'd have never agreed to Kyubei's contract and became a magical girl. If only I listened to the red-headed magical girl, I wouldn't burn myself out fighting witches and familiars. If only I grabbed the hand Madoka extended that night, I wouldn't turn into a witch myself. If only I had my eternal orchestra. A hand on Sayaka's shoulder startled her out of their dreams of her last memories before waking up in this place. Spinning around with a startled yelp, she saw a foreign woman with white hair and red eyes looking at her concernedly. Concernedly.
Concernedly.
With concern, motherfucker. Yes, it is technically correct.
That's the thing. I don't remember if it is or. Oh fuck! Why is that an adjective?
It just completely break flow. It break much flow.
It break flow.
Are you all right? The woman looked like she wanted to say more, but then somewhat awkwardly closed her mouth. Sayaka hastily wiped away her tears during the pause. I'm fine.
Actually, I don't think they are using that.
No?
No, they're not using that word correctly because that
Excellent.
form is an adverb, so. Fucking Christ.
Another English dropout. Blah 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 blah. Japan to English around here. Do you know where this is? How am I alive? A male voice. Whoa, slow down. One question at a time. We're in somewhere none of us recognize. There was a black-haired boy with a pale complexion and a sharp chin, gazing out the hole in the wall. I don't know where you live, and last I checked, I was older, taller, and dead. And before you ask, we don't know where we got here, and I'm Edward Elric. My name is Israel von Eisenborn. You can call me Erie. Miki Sayaka, wait, you hear the scream too? Yep, it's been present for the 2 hours I've been awake. I was the first one to wake up.
Oh, they've been exposed to the Simurgh for 2 hours. They are fucked.
What?
I said they've been exposed to the scream for 2 hours. They are fucked.
Oh, yes, the smug scream.
The whole "you will now do whatever I tell you to, me puppet dance scream.
Well, I mean, she doesn't even technically need to scream to do that. That was just her
I
sandbagging.
know.
Yeah. Hey,
But-
Sharp Chin, what's your name? Sharp Chin ignored her.
Shark Chin?
Sharp Chin.
Sharp Chin. Okay, that's got to be Lelouch.
It is Lelouch.
Yeah.
They literally introduced all the other characters. Anyway, blah blah blah. They look up. They see Miss Merg. Blah 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 blah. She was about to use her soul gem to transform and check out the monster when she saw that instead of a grief seed, she actually had her soul gem still. I guess I should have expected that, given I'm alive and human. I hope Madoka never make the same mistake I did, believing that conniving rat. Just before she charged in, Sayaka saw that one of what she took to be orbiting debris is actually a human with a cape, who then rammed into the monster with a crash that washed over her seconds later. It sent out a shockwave. I never want to be a witch again, no matter what. I have enough grief seeds. Oh, I can't fight until I have enough grief seeds. Sharp Chin spoke up. From your faces, neither of you sure that thing up there is safe. We will move to a safe location. Blah blah blah. Edward bleed. Eerie grabbed the girl. Let's go, Sayaka.
Why are they just listening to him?
Because he is Lelouch. With the new determination, they all listen to his words. Blah blah blah. I'm tired of flaming people's fics and decided to get flamed myself.
To balance
Well,
out the
boy!
bad karma. Oh, this is a braver author than I thought.
Boy, author, you don't know how right you were.
Yeah. Honestly, I can't really say much about this because we've been barely given anything. Apparently, each chapter is couched in what point of view it's from. And then the author straight up...
Not bad.
The last two chapters from the author are a straight up Q&A and then lore questions. Apparently Edward has the Philosopher's Stone on him. Can Lelouch just order Sayaka to not despair? He can in fact do this.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. It's been shown that he can do things like even mess with people's like perceptions, but that has ridiculous and long-reaching consequences.
No, it isn't Lelouch's like specific Geos one of the strongest in canon?
Yes, because he can give what his is he can give anyone one command that they have to follow, but then he can't tell them to do anything else.
Yeah, like
But
it's
he can be as
simultaneously.
specific and nuanced as he wants within that command.
Yeah, he is. His is simultaneously the strongest and the weakest, depending on how it's used.
You do
I got a
anything I
question.
say from now on.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, is it listed in the rules that he cannot give that command? Because if not, like, everything he's trying to do is immediately fixed with the whole, yeah, no, you don't listen to
know
everything
about
I
that
say.
one, but like I do know that he was able to tell a guy, if I pull my jacket in a certain way, you will think I am your dead commander that you were like fanatically loyal to.
Alright. Can any of the three Crossies clean Sayaka's soul gem? Irisaville can. The Eisenburn alchemy deals with both materials and souls, so that's why she can do it. That is not a good reason in the fucking slightest, author.
Like, if anything, Edward would have more experience with souls.
Yeah, like, Irie herself, I don't think actually deals with the magic regarding souls and the Einsburns. Like, she does do the alchemy, but she seems to handle, like, wireframing and crystals.
Yeah, it was Ilya that was the whole
Yeah.
heavens feel suffer me now thing.
Yeah, Ilya was the one that reclaimed the third true magic that, quite frankly, the Einsburns used to know how to play with souls. And then they lost the recipe. But don't worry, they found it again and then immediately lost it again.
Can Ed pull a steel spear out of a stone floor like in canon? It's actually stone, just really polished stone. It looks like metal. My word of God says it's stone.
No, that's
He was called the Full Metal Alchemist because he was really good at metal-based alchemy. And the whole
Well, that
full
and
metal.
the 2 Robo arcs.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just need to point this out. You're trying to word of God an already established character and their whole
Canon, yes.
modus operandi.
Which
You
version
don't
of
get-
Ed is this from? The manga version, which is basically the same plot as Brotherhood.
No, not
General
generally.
question.
It is the exact same thing. Brotherhood is just a manga, but with moving pictures now instead of panels.
It's got them moving pictures.
Question: when did I pull the characters out of canon? Yuri when she died to Kirei, Ed mentally when he died of old age, but physically right before he lost the ability to alchemy after stopping Father and restoring Al's body. Sayaka mentally after the Kyokyo Kamikaze, but before Godoka, physically before Witch Out, and Lelouch right after Zero Requiem. Does Alea equal SeaWorld? Does Root/Akasha equal Truth Gate? Yes.
Why?
And that is not how they are similar in concepts, completely different in practice.
Massively.
Where can I go to discuss this story on sufficient velocity?
Of course, it's insufficient velocity.
Can anyone else cross over? No. Where in the Worm timeline did this happen? December 2009. Where the travelers got dumped in Madison by the Smurg. About 1.5 years before canon. Okay, well that doesn't explain how these people ended up there. What's the DDID? Normal DDID process involves extensive psychological testing for Berg Tattoo. So literally not canon shit at all. Okay. And then the author goes on to answer more questions. Just I will not introduce new power sets into this fic. But Type Moon lore is not that much of a mess.
Sneaky Type Moon lore is a mess. This is coming from a BlazBlue fan.
Type Moon lore is a huge mess.
Anyway, point being is
The
that
only reason it doesn't look
That's
like a mess
coming
is
from a
because of the
Kingdom
wiki.
Hearts fan.
yeah.
Oh
Anyway.
God. I don't like. No, fucking Christ. Word of God is my take on canon. It's like, I'm sorry, but your take on Alchemist canon, at least, is fucking wrong.
So we got 10 minutes left. That's not enough to really get to a new story. And since we've been so helpfully
I
provided
like
with
the
the topic,
wallpaper,
yeah,
by
thank
the
you.
way. It's nice.
Since we've been so helpfully provided with the topic, what's your opinion on authors, either fan fiction or published works, giving word of God changes to a story in interviews and on their websites and whatnot?
Well,
after
okay,
their
so
story
here's
is
the thing.
published?
Fan fiction authors, I don't care who they are, they're wrong and stupid
Fair enough.
if they try to word of God it. As far as the author goes, it's entirely dependent on it. If it's something they've already written, then I don't like it. If it's something that's ambiguous or not clarified, then they can word of God it all they like. But if
Right.
it's something they've already written and they directly contradict it, that's a problem. Because you wrote it this way. We've read it this way for however long it's been written this way. You don't get to just change that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what would be your opinion on controversial word of gods? Like from J.K. Rowling, for example, where she said Hermione is black and that Dumbledore was gay.
Well, okay, as far as the Dumbledore's gay one, that's never explicitly or implicitly, like, that's never said either way. So if she wants to say Dumbledore was gay and write him that way, okay, fine.
But that's the thing though. Is that that's what the whole Word of God thing was about. Is that she was asked in an interview.
I know, but let me finish.
Yeah.
But like I said, that's not something that was ever clarified. So
Right.
she can Word of God it as much as she likes. The whole Hermione is black thing, though, doesn't make any sense because you wrote 8 books and produced 10 movies.
Give or take, yeah.
Wherein you had multiple opportunities to do that, and you did it in none of them.
Right.
So,
yeah.
No, like, yeah, you can say that all you want, but, like, actions speak louder than words. And 8 books written over what? Like a 10-year, 15-year period?
So, your opinion is of that Word of Gods are fine as long as they're not contradicting anything that's been previously published, whether it's a movie or a book?
Correct.
Okay.
Unless within that Word of God they're saying, no, throw that entire movie out, which is their right.
I mean, I'm on the fence about that sort of thing. I would say more, for me to accept that as a sort of Word of God thing, it would have to be like a more official channel, like Disney writing an announcement about how they're turning the Star Wars verse into the Star Wars Legends verse, and that only the movies are canonical in this new lore line they're making. Like, that was an official announcement. That wasn't like a Twitter out from one of the developers of a Star Wars game or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so if it's anything like ignore a movie or ignore this book, I would definitely want a more official outlet of the author saying it. But
or like as we saw with the Blizzard thing, like on an official panel.
Right. So what would be your do you contradict him at all, Max? About your opinion on Word of Gods?
As far as fan fiction goes, the only time I want to see Word of God is when you're applying concepts that are never explicitly explained, like any of the hundreds of Dark Souls theories that exist.
Right.
Until Miyazaki says otherwise, you can Word of God most of those theories all you want to your story.
Right.
Because it's all very vague. It's very much a thing of like, what do you think happened? How do you imagine it happened? Here are the railroad tracks. Here's the materials you need to build a railroad track.
Right.
These are the maps you get to use. Versus Full Metal Alchemist, since that's what we were just talking about, where it is explicitly stated, oh, he's a Full Metal Alchemist. Why? Because he's really good at transmuting shit into metal. And those are just steel spears that he's transmuting minerals into steel for.
Right.
You can't Word of God that in fan fiction. You're not, unless you change the core fundamentals and make it an AU, you are not allowed to do that. And even if you make it an AU, at that point, you clearly have enough creative process to just create your own universe that was inspired by this work. In which case, you should look at maybe publishing or doing a blog of some kind to hold it all in place, like, say, Wildbow did with Worm, where he just ran a blog website to keep chapters in order.
Right.
And then there's people like Wildbow, who a lot of the lore comes from Word of God stuff and AMAs with him. Fucking cunt.
Yeah, that is for Wildbow. It's highly disputed how legitimate his Word of Gods are, because he does make an often contradictory statements with his Word of Gods, and he'll often edit the wiki to be like, "Oh well, I like this more now," or "I like this more now," and so he'll often change his statements and retcon things.
Okay, yeah, in that case, like, if you make something, you need to have it noted down somewhere, and you need to fucking commit to it.
Yeah.
And in the cases where it's like, oh, I like this thing more, then make the proviso of under certain condition blank can also be true. Or go with the BlazBlue and like BlazBlue and S&T theories of like, well, what's the word I got here? Oh, all of this is canon. Why? Because branching timeline theory.
Right.
Okay, sure.
It's a solution that makes things messier, but it is a solution.
It is, and like, quite frankly, I enjoy the branching timeline theory because I'm a sucker for quantum theory being used in fiction. Because quantum theory and mechanics is, hey, let's take what we know about physics and throw all that out the window. Because fuck you, you don't need it now.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Like, the only things that need to be explained are like, how does the go-to energy work? Why is it there? What are the conditions for it? So on and so forth. And everything else is just, yeah, this can all change depending on situations.
Fair enough. So, would you say that you're fine with authors doing major changes to the world as long as they say it's an AU then?
I'm totally fine with that, yeah. Like, as long as they make it clear this is an AU where things are going to work slightly differently, or like, this is an AU of Full Metal Alchemist,
Mm-hmm.
where he's still really good with working with metal, but he's not good enough to transmute other things into metal.
Right.
And in that case, it's like, oh, that's why the spears are stone. Because he doesn't know how to transmute them into metal. He knows how to transmute objects into the shapes of other objects, but not into other materials.
Right. Fair enough.
I'd be willing to accept that if you made that clear at the start.
What if, for example, I'm going to pitch this at you? Because this is a story I had encountered a day or two ago,
Oh
in
boy.
which the author decided that their best course of action was to make a story in which male ninjas are weaker than female ninjas because reasons, but Naruto will turn heads because he'll be stronger than all the female ninjas and prove that male ninjas can be just as strong.
I'm gonna say it sounds like he's ripping the shit off of Infinite Stratos, where it's exceptionally rare for males to have the specific
No, no, it was just straight up females can use chakra better. So they're the
I
only ones
mean,
allowed to become ninjas.
But why?
uh,
Because
this
apparently the author really wanted an excuse to have a Naruto harem.
no, this sounds familiar. He's ripping off a harem manga that I've read somewhere. This is a very specific plot thing that happened.
But I
Um,
wouldn't be surprised at all. All the fanfiction authors tend to be incredibly angry.
yeah, and like the only reason that the females should be better at controlling chakra, you at least need to outline the reasons for it, even
Yeah,
if it's something as simple as like females are just naturally better at needing chakra, and therefore because males don't have that level of control, they're not allowed in case of bad things happening. Even that little bit of explanation would be fine.
Well,
Just a
not
thing of
fine,
like,
but at least be there.
yeah,
what?
it would be an
It would be
explanation.
okay. It would be fine insofar as at least you explained the reasoning. Like, oh, what's the? I'm trying. I can't even think of a appropriate thing. But like, I would rather have someone licensed who can control something better than have someone licensed who can't control it but just has a shit ton of whatever the thing is to
Yeah.
throw
Fair
around.
enough. Fair enough.
Like, ideally, I'd rather have the person with control than the person with. I want quality over quantity for situations like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ideally, though, you can have you'll have someone teach the quantity guy how to get some quality out of what he does.
Right. Okay.
I
Yeah.
mean, that never happened to Naruto.
Like, well, it did actually,
I know, but the joke needed to be.
but like honestly, even just a simple thing of like, honestly, even take it a step further because let's see, around this time, it's been at least a couple hundred years since humanity had chakra due to the Naruto timeline. The way all that works, it's significantly longer, obviously, but like just lowballing based on when the first ninja villages started properly showing up.
Right.
Even an explanation of like females are the majority, and it's rare to see a male there because males lack the control that females have. Don't make it so that Naruto is the chosen one. Make it so Naruto is one of the few, and he just happens to excel in it.
Hmm.
That little bit would also make it easier to go through the story. When you have a thing of only blank kind of person exists and all the others just do not, that's where it gets weird. And
Yeah,
it's rare.
and there was
It's
also the
it's
other
rare to
thing
see it handled
where
well.
I was just really confused by the story in general because chakra is based off of amplifying your physical attributes when it comes to physical combat, and that's why Guy trains with weights and shit because you know using chakra makes all of his muscle gains that much better,
Yeah.
right? And so I was really confused because guys are obviously a lot better at the whole muscle building thing due to biology, and so the author's basically like, no, the fundamentals of how chakra operates are completely different, but we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on
Yeah.
Naruto getting some pussy.
Sure, you could go that way, and like I said, like I mentioned Infinite Stratos, where it's basically like it's basically like mecha power suits of sorts. Only females are capable of using it, but then it's like, oh, well, this guy has an unusually high count and is the only male capable of using this. But you have to keep in mind, in the world, there are maybe 200 women, give or take, that can also use these suits with the capability. So it's still an exceedingly rare ability, and it just hasn't been studied long enough for there
I
to be a
honestly, I
case
am
of a
I'm
guy
not
using it.
going to lie. I really enjoyed the reasoning for why claymores were all female. That I
Yeah.
actually really enjoyed that. I'm not gonna lie. That was. I sat there when they first explained that. I was just like,
I never
okay,
watched
yeah.
Claymore, so what was the reasoning?
Okay, so the whole thing with Claymore is that there's evil monster experiments gone rogue, more or less, and they go and eat
Yeah.
humans.
Yeah.
And to fight this, they implant this monster flesh into humans to make them like half monster. But the problem is it's sort of like a virusy sort of flesh, and like it basically
Oh.
infects the person the more they
Yeah.
use it.
I'm already starting to see where this is going, sorta.
And so originally they had both men and women being empowered by this flesh because it makes them stronger. But the problem is that it amplified all aspects of the person, including aggressiveness due to testosterone.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
no, that
the
one went
guys,
exactly where I thought it would.
all of the guys, if they got into if they got into a serious fight, they would quickly enter a what's the term for like a inescapable spiral of increasing escalation.
Archon toilet?
No, fuck no. I mean, it's a specific term. Um, I forget it right now. I'm probably gonna shout at it in like 30 minutes. But point being, so basically, because they need more power, they'll use the power more, but that makes them more aggressive, which makes them pull on the power more, which makes them turn more and get more aggressive, which makes them pull on the power more. So basically, they get into one serious fight, and boom, they're
Oh,
fucking.
a recursion. A recursive loop? Is that
Yeah,
what you mean?
I think so. But yeah, like so, like a decent fight, and boom, the guys are going full monster, and like they fucking go crazy, and they start killing the shit out of everyone. And because guys, and it amplifies the power, all of the guys were way fucking stronger, and so they were way harder to kill. And so the organization that was performing these experiments were like, yeah, we're just gonna stop using guys.
Yeah, no, that I like that. That went exactly where I thought it would the moment you started mentioning how the monster flesh reacted to the humans.
Yeah.
Wow. That no, like that right there, that's a great explanation for why it's all females.
Yep. So that's
Now,
that's the
that won't
thing.
stop anyone, me included, from saying it's fan service, but it's well-explained fan service.
That is true. More or less, yes. But yeah. So that's basically the background.
So, what is your opinion on it, Sneaky?
Of what Word of Gods?
Word of Godding.
I typically dislike them. More often than not, this is again a personal opinion because I don't social media too much, and I really don't like go, oh wow, that author was great. I want to like follow their interviews that they do so I can.
Oh
Learn
God,
more
yeah,
about
no,
it.
I don't do any of that.
So I don't do any of that, and I only find out about some of these Word of Gods because like I only even found out about Word of God specifically because of fan fiction, where I was like that doesn't look like canon, and then I'll like contact the author and they'll be like, oh yeah, well they said in this interview, this and that thing. I was just like, well that's dumb. But yeah, so it's both a personal gripe of mine due to my dislike of social media and general disinterest in following authors
And let's
beyond
not
their
forget
written
you just
works.
like being wrong.
I mean, yeah, yes. But at the same time, I also think it's kind of lazy on the author's part. Like, if it was so important that this question had to be answered to the point where it needs to be considered canon in your story, it should have been in your works. You know? Like, if,
Yeah. Or at the very
fucking-
least, you compile a fucking like guidebook like the Naruto guy
yeah,
did.
or like what Naruto did with the whole guidebook thing. But like even beyond that, like if it's so important that it had to be said and clarified in an interview, then in your written work it should have been clarified. Like that's something that either you or your editors or whatever should have caught at some point down the line, whether it's a movie, a game, or a book. If it needs to be a little tack on, like, oh yeah, the reasoning why this happened was because blank, then it should have been there. Otherwise, you get stupid wogs like I gripe about with what's her face, J.K. Rowling, where it's like, why aren't there any gay characters? Oh, Dumbledore's gay. It's like, well, that's a stupid wog. That has no impact on the story, and generally, it's just pandering at that point, regardless of what it's for. If it's an all-black cast and someone goes, why aren't there any white characters? Oh, well, blank's actually white. Or just insert anything anywhere of any term. Is that important to the story? No. Then why are you asking the question? Why does it need to be clarified? If it's not important to the story at all, then you don't need to clarify it because it's everyone's own imagination of what it is. If it's that important that the characters have to look this specific way, then the author has a bunch of means. If it's a book specifically, they could put them on the covers one at a time. They could include sketches at the front, as I've seen some books do.
Even just simple descriptions.
Yeah, just describing them better. Like, there's a lot of options, and I just see WOGs as generally pointless and a crutch for bad authors.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on WOGs. And yeah, I mean, I do admit, I understand authors can't typically go back to stories that have been published and be like, oh, let me release version 2 of this and clarify it all.
I mean, here's the thing: digital books, they totally can.
I know they can in digital books, but like I'm talking about published, printed.
Yeah.
I understand, but at the same time, I'm of the like I've had actually people give me this opinion before, where they're like, oh well, how could they know X when they can't correct it because how could they have known? I've actually had someone tell me that before. It's like, well, then they should have put more effort into it.
I was gonna say, good writers don't do things by the seat of their pants.
Well, it's not even that. It's if you know you have one shot and there can be no mistakes whatsoever because you cannot recall whatever it is, whether it's a movie being sent out to the theater or a book being published or a game being delivered. If you have, obviously this is before the days of day one patches. If you have one shot to get it right, and then at that point out, you cannot make any changes to it from then on, you would think you would put more effort into it then. Right? You would think you would put the extra hours in to be like, okay, I want to make sure I didn't fuck anything up here. I want to make sure everything I want explained is explained here. You would think that.
Yeah, well, I was just saying that's, and again, I'm going back to my favorite author, Brandon Sanderson, because even if you don't enjoy his work, from a technical aspect, he's an excellent writer.
Mm-hmm.
All of his shit, barring the Wax and Wayne series of books, was planned out in advance. And the Wax and Wayne books was originally meant to be a one-shot that once people saw it was super popular, he said, well, I kind of enjoyed writing them, so I'll sit down and think about how I could write more for them before he ever even agreed to write more of them.
Right. Right. No, yeah, no. See, like, that's the sort of thing I'm talking about. Like, if you have one shot to make sure you're doing it right, then you really better sit down and make sure you're doing it fucking right. Like, this is something that people have griped at me about on Fanfiction.net, where people are like, oh, you know, it's so hard to update all the chapters with everything I've learned from, you know, because, you know, I'm 60 chapters in. I don't want to rewrite the previous 59. Alright, so then don't fuck up the previous 59. If it's too much effort for you to fix your mistakes that you previously made, then don't make those mistakes. And you know what the simple response to that is? Okay, I'll fix my mistakes. It's if you're gonna complain that you can't put the time and effort into fixing your mistakes, then don't make the mistake. And if you're gonna complain that I'm gonna make mistakes, I'm a new author, then fix them. You know, it's not a hard concept, and it just irritates me when people aren't willing to put in the work, either because they're new or it's not like you're being paid. It's not like this is a published work. But you know what this is? You know what fanfiction really is? It's a way to attract people. It's a way to attract people to go, hey, this person's a good author. We should hire them. We should take their story and make it into a movie. We should, you know, do any of the multiples of shit that have actually happened to authors now. Fanfiction has been made into movies. Fanfiction has been made into actual animated series. Fanfiction, I don't think it's made into a game yet, but probably has. I don't know. I don't read all the fanfiction. I've read a lot of fanfiction, haven't read all of it. For all I know, one fanfiction story out there has in fact made it into canonical games of published works. Who knows? I don't. But that's enough ranting for today. We're a little over the limit, but that's normal when I get into it. So, I will leave everyone with that rant, and I will say come back next week for more, I suppose, at 7 to 9 p.m. every Tuesday and
or
every
slightly
Friday.
beyond if we get ranty.
Yeah, that's the general gist of it, though. And that should be it. The archived version will be going up by tomorrow on YouTube, if that is the means of how you watch it. And live on Twitch, Discord, and description below. That pretty much covers everything. So, sayonara, lads and lasses. And remember, there's always more, and it will always get worse.